Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into fear itself. We're going to take apart two really popular Hindi horror stories to figure out how they tick. We'll look at how they use completely different tools to build terror and, what that reveals about what really scares us.
So let's just start with the big question right off the bat. What actually gets under your skin? Is it the ghost who has a tragic backstory, a real reason for all that rage? Or is it the monster that has no motive at all, something that just acts on pure, unknowable instinct? Keep that in mind as we go through this. All right, let's get into our two stories. Now, on the surface, they both seem to kick off as pretty simple travel tales. But trust me, both of these journeys are about to take a hard turn into absolute horror.
So our first story is all about Ragini and her family. They're on a train, the Bhagalpur Express. It's a totally normal scene, passing ancient ruins, people selling chai, a classic Indian train ride. But this particular trip, it's headed straight for a collision with a secret that's been buried for a very, very long time.
And then, in our second story, we meet Jatin. He's a truck driver, out on a long, dark, lonely haul. For him, the road is pretty much his entire life. But tonight, that empty highway is about to become his worst nightmare. This isn't just another job. It's going to turn into a desperate fight to make it to sunrise.
Okay, so let's unpack story number one, A Lover's Vow. It all starts pretty innocently. A young woman, Ragini, loses her favorite scarf. It flies right out the train door. But what comes back in its place is something much, much darker. It's this chilling reminder that some promises, well, they refuse to be broken.
The horror here kicks in immediately, and it is shockingly personal. See, the spirit that possesses Ragini isn't just lashing out at random. Nope, it has a very clear target, her father, Rajendra. The attack is just filled with this specific, focused anger, which tells us right away this isn't some mindless monster. This is someone with a serious grudge. And right here, the whole heartbreaking story is laid out for us. This spirit isn't some ancient evil. She was a woman, a young woman named Sharaka who was deeply in love. Her rage, it comes from a place of profound heartbreak, from a promise she believes was broken, and she's been waiting for decades for this moment. And this is the moment everything changes. The spirit speaks through Ragini, and it gives itself a name. I am not Ragini, I am Sharaka. That one line completely transforms the haunting. It's no longer just a scary spectacle, it's a personal tragedy. She's not just a ghost, she's Sharaka, and she's here for answers.
What's fascinating is how this is resolved. It's not through a big fight or a dramatic exorcism, it's through communication. The moment Rajendra reveals he had a horrible accident and never actually betrayed her, Sharaka's rage just dissolves into grief. She doesn't want revenge anymore, she just wants peace. The solution is literally an act of empathy.
Okay, let's shift gears completely to our second story. This one builds a totally different kind of terror. We're basically leaving the world of human emotions and grief behind, and we're stepping into something way more primal and way more mysterious.
So here, the fear starts with a simple, incredibly unnerving discovery. The driver, Jatin, and his assistant, they find someone in their cargo hold. This person is completely covered by a cloth and totally, utterly silent. It won't answer, it won't move, it's just there. And that chilling mystery is the first layer of dread.
And then, the fear becomes something you can hear. Jatin and his assistant start hearing these horrific sounds coming from the back of the truck. First, the terrified screams of the animals they're transporting, and then this wet, tearing sound of flesh. The fact that they can't see what's happening just makes it 1,000 times worse.
And when they finally get a look, the reveal is pure nightmare fuel. This is no human ghost. It's a grotesque entity, a horrifying mix of skeleton and flesh, and it's actively devouring their cargo. Its appearance is just a direct assault on the senses. It's something utterly alien and monstrous.
The encounter is violent, it's fast, and it is brutal. There's no conversation here, no negotiation. The creature just attacks, kills the assistant, and Jatin is incredibly lucky to get away with his life. The resolution isn't about understanding or peace. It's just a frantic, desperate fight for survival. Now, the locals, they have a name for it, a bukhar, which means something like a perpetually hungry demon. But having a name doesn't explain why it exists or what it wants beyond just feeding. The name just classifies it. It's like a feature of the landscape, a predatory force of nature that you just have to avoid at all costs.
So let's put these two terrifying things side by side. On one hand, you've got this heartbroken ghost, and on the other, a ravenous monster. The contrast between them really shows us two fundamentally different ways to create fear.
Let's just break it down. Shurka's motive is deeply personal. The Bukhar's motive is pure instinct. Shurka has a human origin story, based on love and betrayal. The Bukhar is completely alien. And this is the big one. Shurka's story is resolved through understanding. The only way to deal with the Bukhar is to fight or to run like hell.
So, what's the key takeaway here? Well, it's that these stories aren't just scary in different ways. They are tapping into two completely distinct categories of human fear. It's not just about what the monster does, it's about what it represents.
The first story, that's psychological horror. It plays on our very human fears of unresolved guilt, of our past mistakes literally coming back to haunt us. We're scared of Shrecha for sure, but we understand her. We might even pity her. The second story, that's primal horror. It plugs directly into our most basic, ancient fear of being hunted in the dark by a predator that you cannot understand, you can't reason with, and you probably can't stop.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Which one is the true face of terror? Is it the ghost in the mirror that reflects our own human failings? Or is it the monster in the shadows that reflects nothing at all? The answer, I think, probably says a lot about what you personally fear the most.